AP, they were little girls with dreams of Olympic gold when they started in gymnastics. Now they're women with lifelong injuries, suffocating anxiety and debilitating eating disorders. They are the other victims of USA Gymnastics. 13 former U.S. gymnasts and 3 coaches interviewed by the Associated Press described a win-at-all-cost culture rife with verbal and emotional abuse in which girls were forced to train on broken bones and other injuries. That culture was tacitly endorsed by the sport's governing body and institutionalized by Belle and Martha Caroli, the husband and wife duo who coached America's top female gymnasts for 3 decades. The gymnasts agreed to speak to AP, some for the first time, after the recent courtroom revelations about USA Gymnastics former team doctor, Larry Nassar, who recently was sentenced to decades in prison for sexually assaulting young athletes for years under the guise of medical treatment. The Karolis' oppressive style created a toxic environment in which a predator like Nassar was able to thrive, according to witness statements in Nassar's criminal case and a lawsuit against USA Gymnastics, the Karolis and others. Girls were afraid to challenge authority. Nassar was able to prey on vulnerable girls and, at the same time, he didn't challenge the couple's harsh training methods. He was their little puppet. Jeanette Antolin, a former member of the U.S. national team who trained with the Karolis, said, "He let us train on injuries. They got what they wanted. He got what he wanted." Young girls were virtually starved, constantly body-shamed and forced to train with broken bones or other injuries, according to interviews on the lawsuit. Their meager diets and extreme training often delayed puberty, which some coaches believed was such a detriment that they ridiculed girls who started their menstrual cycles. USA Gymnastics declined to answer questions for this story. The Karolis didn't reply to requests for comment, but their attorney denied they abused anyone. Some female gymnasts in the U.S. were subjected to abusive training methods before the Karolis defected from their native Romania in 1981. But other coaches and former gymnasts say the Karolis' early successes, starting with Romania's Nadia Comaneci becoming the first woman gymnast awarded a perfect score in competition, validated the cutthroat attitudes that fostered widespread mistreatment of American athletes at the highest levels of women's gymnastics. The Karolis, who helped USA Gymnastics win 41 Olympic medals, including 13 gold over 3 decades, trained hundreds of gymnasts at their complex in rural Huntsville, Texas, known as The Ranch. They selected gymnasts for the national team and earned millions from USA Gymnastics. But while the Karolis are credited with dramatically improving the performance and medal counts of the U.S. women's team, gymnasts in the U.S. and Romania told AP that the couple were verbally, emotionally and sometimes physically abusive. A congressional committee investigating the gymnastics scandal said in February 8 letters to the Karolis, USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic Committee that they were all at the center of many of these failures that allowed Nassar's sexual abuse to persist for more than 2 decades. Former gymnast Maddie Larson, who was molested by Nassar and was among the nearly 250 who provided victim impact statements during his sentencing hearings, said the doctor cleared her one time to train at the Karoli complex on an ankle that turned out to be fractured. "Martha, did you keep Larry around because he was a good doctor? Or did you really keep him around because he let us compete when we were injured and was willing to keep your secrets?" Larson said in court. It's unclear what the Karolis knew about Nassar's sexual abuse and whether they took any action to stop it. Martha Caroli, in a deposition given last year as part of the lawsuit against the Karolis and numerous others, acknowledged that, in or around June 2015, she received a phone call from the then head of the National Gymnastics Organization, Steve Penny, informing her that the organization had received a complaint that Nassar had molested a national team gymnast at the ranch. The deposition was included in a Feb. 14 letter to 2 U.S. senators from John Manley, an attorney representing Larson and other Nassar victims in a lawsuit that seeks monetary damages and court oversight of USA Gymnastics. Manley cited the deposition to accuse the sport's governing body of lying to Congress. In a timeline submitted to a congressional committee investigating the scandal, the organization said it was told in mid-June of an athlete uncomfortable with Nassar's treatment, but that it was not until late July 2015 that it decided to notify law enforcement with concerns of potential sexual misconduct. That timeline is incomplete, inaccurate and equally misleading, Manley said. Penny, the former USA Gymnastics chief, said in a statement that Martha Caroli was mistaken about the timing of his call. Texas has one of the strongest child abuse reporting laws in the nation, requiring anyone who has reason to believe abuse has occurred to immediately alert authorities. Failure to do so is a misdemeanor punishable by jail time and a fine, said Scott McCown, director of the Children's Rights Clinic at the University of Texas at Austin, and any kind of sexual abuse is going to count. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services said it did not find any reports about abuse at the Caroli Ranch. In the deposition, Martha Caroli said she did not discuss what she learned about Nassar with anyone but her husband, her lawyers, and the USA Gymnastics official who called her. That raises questions about whether she violated Texas law. The AP requested an interview with the Carolis through their Houston attorney, Gary Jewell, who declined. Reporters also visited the ranch, left phone messages and sent the couple a letter, but they never responded. Jewell said the Carolis didn't know about any sexual assault complaints involving Nassar until Martha Caroli was contacted by a USA Gymnastics official in the summer of 2015. Jewell insisted the Carolis didn't abuse anyone and were cooperating with authorities. He said he